To be honest, I don't really like this word here, manifestation. Everybody pretty much uses it in the wrong format. All the grifters, everybody on YouTube, everybody's like, you gotta manifest, you gotta manifest, you gotta manifest, blah, 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 blah. It's honestly oversaturated at this point. It's annoying to hear this word manifestation. Like, I don't even like it anymore. It's kind of dumb, to be honest, but it is important, and understanding the proper concept of it matters a lot, because most of you guys, probably 90% of you guys, don't actually understand how it works, and you're doing it in the wrong format. And I'm going to break all of that down today. So I guess, okay, let's start at the most key element in the whole thing, and that's going to be physical and mental reality, okay? And so what this really means is that physical reality isn't even real. And what do I mean by physical reality isn't real? Physical, like I've talked about this in another video, right? This is physical reality. I mean, the person you see here is physical reality, okay? But it doesn't really, it's not real. It's not an accurate representation of who you are as a person. Who you are as a person is who you perceive yourself to be, right? And that's where the mental world comes in, because in mental reality, you have to perceive yourself as the higher version of yourself, not who you are in physical reality. 99% of the time, physical reality is not going to be an accurate representation of who you actually are. Let me say that again. 99% of the time, physical reality is not going to be an accurate representation of who you are. You should feel like the guy before you're the guy. So if you're still broke and you have a shitty apartment, or you live with your parents, or you're eating fucking ramen every day, you shouldn't feel like some broke loser. You should feel like the fucking guy. You should feel like the millionaire version of yourself, right? This is the essence of manifestation. But you have to understand that everything starts in your head before it even can exist in physical reality. The mental world is the plane of cause, and the physical world is the plane of effect, right? Cause and effect. So if the mental is the cause and physical is the effect, don't try and fix things in the physical world because you're trying to change an effect, right? We learned this in school early on. That doesn't work. You have to change things in the plane of cause. And this is why you must accrue your mental reality to that higher version of yourself. That's why the physical reality does not matter at the end of the day. Who you mentally perceive yourself as is so much more important than who you physically are. Because again, also manifestation and law of attraction really do go hand in hand. And if you perceive yourself as a broke loser, you're attracting broke loser energy into your life. You're on the broke loser frequency. We'll get into frequency in a second here, right? So you have to be on the millionaire frequency to get millionaire things in your life, to get millionaire opportunities, and to make millionaire money. And all these things start to happen when you're on a different frequency, right? So let's just get into frequencies now. Frequency is kind of, as a whole, how your energy is vibrating. If this isn't going to be the best description of frequency. If you want a really good description of frequency, go watch Neuro Knowledge on YouTube. But frequency is pretty much like how you're mentally vibrating it and the frequency you're on. Everything's on a different frequency, okay? Let's do it this way. The microwave has a frequency, and the whiteboard has a frequency, and money has a frequency, drugs have a frequency, love has a frequency, sex has a frequency, right? All these things are on different frequencies, okay? And there is like a tier scale of the frequencies they're on, right? Money in and of itself is not on a high frequency, okay? But being a valuable person, having valuable skill sets, and being able to use that to make money, that's a high frequency thing, okay? Having sex is not high frequency, right? If you're having sex with hoes or whatever you're doing and you're just hoeing around, that's low frequency as fuck. High frequency, having somebody you actually love, they're on a different frequency than you're on right now. Your number one goal is to vibrate to that frequency in your head before you physically see it, right? Because even now, everything that I have now, I used to envision myself as that person, right? I got a bunch of Arc'teryx in my closet. I used to envision myself as being the type of person that was wearing Arc'teryx, right? It's not like cheap stuff, it's expensive, you know what I mean? And I used to envision myself literally having this apartment, not this exact unit, but a high-rise apartment in a city that I love, you know what I mean? And I can just sit here and go on and on and on and on and on. But the point is, that's who I used to be on that mental frequency. I actually achieved it in the physical reality, and guess what? I'm on another mental frequency, to another one, to another milestone, right? And we can go into a whole topic of the arrival fallacy because it kills so many people. But the point is you're probably never going to physically be where you're at mentally. And that's a good thing because you want the progress, you don't want the result, right? As a person, the number one thing you can do is progress. It's never about the result, it's about the progress. This is arrival fallacy. I'll make another video on that. So your mental frequency is the most important thing, right? This is like how you're mentally vibrating and the energy that you're putting out into the world, right? You've seen high frequency people. High frequency people naturally attract all kinds of opportunities. These are the people that just in public, you just see them walking around and people look at them, or they're having this conversation and all these random things are happening to them and everybody seems to be in a good mood when they walk past them or talk to them. That's a high frequency person, right? And those high frequency people attract a lot of opportunities to themselves, right? High frequency is happiness, abundance, gratitude, right? Low frequency is gonna be like depression, like you're walking around wearing your hood all the time and just like in an angry, upset, sad mood. People don't fuck with that. Like nobody's attracted to that, right? That means you're on a low frequency, right? Your reality can be on a low frequency, right? It could just be flat. But your mental can be on a high frequency, and this is exactly how you manifest, okay? And so you have to mentally become the person you want to be before you're physically that person, because you're changing the plane of cause, right? So we have, okay, guys, I have like a mix of cursive and normal handwriting going on. I'm learning my cursive, so just bear with me a little bit. But physical is the plane of cause or effect, and mental is the plane of cause, right? So you have to change mental first, and that's gonna change this, okay? So when you're mentally vibrating on a higher frequency, eventually this is going to change to this. And once that happens, you'll start to see things materializing in your desired reality, right? I'm sure you've heard a lot of these buzzwords that I'm saying. So how do we actually get onto a higher frequency? What are the actions we need to take? How can I change my mental state? How can I change my identity to be that best version of myself, right? Because it doesn't happen overnight, okay? Nothing happens overnight. Millionaires aren't made overnight. The best athletes of all time, Michael Jordan, was not made overnight. Lionel Messi, right? It's through constant repetition and reminders. So what are some things that some tools we can use every day to do this, okay? Journal. This is the most basic one. Everybody tells you to journal. I see dumbasses online like, who is it? Alex Hormozy and this guy and that guy, and they're like, yeah, I didn't journal and I was the same dude and I was still getting drunk every weekend and I became rich. Yes, you can become rich, or you can become whatever you're trying to become doing that, but you're literally just making it fucking harder and slower, right? I've seen a lot of people in the entrepreneurial space who it takes like 3 years, 2 years, 2 to 4 years to catch a break. I caught my break in year 1, and that's because I'm putting in the work that these other people aren't and that they think is like fake. Again, everybody's on their own timeline, right? And you can't force when you're successful, but I guarantee you if you put in work in this stuff and in your mental, the other things just naturally come faster because you're pulling them towards you, right? You're gravitating them towards you. Manifestation and law of attraction are almost the same fucking thing, right? Because when you get to this higher mental frequency, you're now manifesting your desired reality. And when you're on the higher mental frequency, you're also attracting those things, right? So it's the same shit. And so we can journal every day, right? And here's the way that you don't journal. Here's exactly how we don't journal. I want to be a millionaire. This is terrible. Why is this bad? Answer the question. Okay, hopefully you answered properly. But the reason this is bad is because you're telling yourself right now that you're not a millionaire, which is putting you on the frequency that you're not a millionaire, right? And then again, it's pushing that further away because you're not attracting what you are. You attract what you are, okay? And so if you say, I want to, that means that you already aren't, which means you're not attracting what you are, or you're not attracting to be a millionaire because you aren't a millionaire, right? What do we say instead? I am grateful for being a millionaire, right? I am thankful for making 10K per day. I am thankful for being the best copywriter. I'm thankful for being the best entrepreneur. Get a little more specific, right? I'm thankful for mastering copywriting and leading a team to 7 figures per month, okay? I'm thankful for mastering organic dropshipping and being the best at making content, okay? I'm thankful for mastering human psychology and closing 55% of my sales calls. Whatever that is for you, right? I'm grateful for being the best possible athlete I can be and making it to an MLS soccer team. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to be the best rancher, if you want to be the best sports player, whatever. The point is to be the best at whatever you're doing. And if you're not achieving and striving for the best, you're just fucking wasting your time. I don't care what respective fields you're in, you should want to be the best, okay? It's a separate conversation. We're not gonna get into that one. So you journal every day, every morning. This is one of the first things I do when I wake up. I go run and then I journal with my coffee. No music, no YouTube, no social media, nothing before I run and journal because I'm keeping my mind fresh and primed, okay? And I say, I'm grateful for being a millionaire. That's not what I say, but I say my own stuff, right? But like, I'm grateful for having my Giulia Quadrifoglio Tri-Acra Carbon Edition in cash, right? Like, I'm grateful, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say all the shit on mine, right? But the point is you say, I'm grateful for, I'm thankful for, I'm blessed by God to have this, this, and this. You say it as you already have it, right? And you're not saying it as like you're acting like you already have it. Because again, acting subconsciously means that you don't have it. You just have to become it, right? You have to feel and 100% have absolute conviction. This word is so important. 110% conviction in yourself that you own your fucking dream car before it's down in the garage. It shouldn't have to be in the garage for you to 110% have conviction that you own that car. It shouldn't have to be. It doesn't make sense, right? Like when you visualize, okay? You should be able to see everything so clearly that you feel that you already have it, right? Because you're visually seeing it to such a degree that it feels like physical reality, right? And therefore it is physical reality. You know, they did a study, and this is in the book Psycho-Cybernetics, where they mentally trained, I don't remember what the sport was, let's just say it was tennis. They mentally trained hitting perfect serves in tennis for 5 days and did no actual physical work, right? And then they had another group that physically trained for 3 days trying to hit the perfect serve. At the end of it, right? And like they did it, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And they saw which group had more perfect serves. It was actually the group that mentally trained for more time and they didn't even touch a fucking racket and a ball. You guys underestimate the power of your mind. Like you can literally will things into reality as you want. I've said this before. My journal is literally like a fucking spell book. I'll start writing something in there and then it will happen. I'll start writing something in there, then it will happen. Like I have such control and my manifestation power is so strong that I can just occur my reality as I want to. But you have to do these things through repetition. So journal is one. Number two is visualization. Whether you're praying, whether you're meditating, visualize your desired reality. Let's say you want an SVJ. Imagine the feeling you're gonna have when you sit in the SVJ, right? Visualize that. Visualize yourself in the SVJ, touching the wheel, the feelings that you have. Visualize yourself FaceTiming your parents when you have the SVJ. Are you gonna cry? Are you gonna be happy? Like, how are they gonna react, right? Feel all of that. Feel every single bit of emotion because, again, at the end of the day, the mental reality is real. And if you can visualize so clearly something happening, it is real. It doesn't have to be happening here to be real, right? And you're making that a reality. It's becoming real. You owning the SVJ and FaceTiming your parents when you buy it is now real, and you're now attracting that into your reality. Are you starting to like put the pieces together of how this all works? I hope so. So journal, visualization. Let's say you go for a walk and you just visualize, like you just daydream and you're visualizing your entire desired reality, right? Or all these things, right? Like manifestation comes through repetition, and repetition comes through things like journal, visualization, praying, meditation, putting in thought into being that person, right? And then eventually you're just going to become that person once you do it every day. And it's like subconscious, right? I don't sit here and journal as if I don't have the things. I journal as I have them, and I'm just saying I'm grateful for having them. It's the same thing with the visualization. It's the same thing with all of this. You have to put work into it to get the output. And people who tell you not to work on your mental are fucking dumbasses. Like they're actually retarded, because this shit does matter. And these things do matter. Some of the most successful people will tell you they'll go on a walk for an hour or two and just visualize everything. They can see their dream life so clearly. It's like as if it's real. It is real because they're visualizing it in their mental reality, that which makes it real. You don't, again, it doesn't have to be physical to be real. And so we build our manifestation muscle through repetition in acts like this and meditation and other things like that. And then after a certain amount of time, you build absolute conviction that your mental reality is now real, physically real. You become on that frequency and it actually physically manifests, and you change your physical frequency to the one that you were mentally on, and therefore everything materializes. I made a video a while ago when I actually first started to materialize my desired reality, and I got my first piece of Arc'teryx, and I started making money, and I started talking to and connecting with other people, and everything in my journal started to work its way out. That happened probably 6 months ago now, and I'm working on building like my next layer of reality. Let's say I started down here. I materialized the layer that I was manifesting here, which is here. Now I'm manifesting this layer and I'm getting there, right? I'm already there. That's the thing. I'm not gonna say I'm not there because I am there. Just because it's not physically here doesn't mean I don't have it. Doesn't mean I don't have the Tri-Aqua Julio Quadrifolio Carbon Edition. I have that. It's not like I don't have it. That's the thing you guys mess up. You subconsciously tell yourself you don't have the things that you're manifesting, and that's the exact fucking problem. So hopefully this helped you guys with manifestation. This is like my explanation of it. It fucking makes perfect sense to me at this point, and I subconsciously do it. If it helped, like, share, comment. Peace.